Hi, everybody. Hello, it's Monday. Welcome to Fireside Chats with Kimberly. Thank you to Follow Your Heart, the sponsor for this week's talks. Prize packs for this month's contest have been graciously donated by Hodo Foods, Crofters Organics, Follow Your Heart, Cinnaholic, Orgain, and Shroomeats. I invite my viewers to enter the monthly contest at virtualvegfest.com and click on the contest tab for details. Entering is super easy just by liking and/or subscribing to our social media and Virtual Veg Fest YouTube channel. You are entered to win one of 6 prize packs. We really want you to subscribe to the Virtual Veg Fest YouTube, so we're continuing to do 25 entries just for subscribing through the contest link. You can support our sponsors by liking their social media and earn entries that way too. So I first want to say that welcome. My cat has been enjoying the green screen a bit, and I've been trying to keep him away, but he's having a very good time, and so we'll see how that goes. But if you hear any scurrying around, that's Gus, and he's just living his very best life. So thanks for being here. I'd love to know where you're watching from, so go ahead and pop in the chat where you are, and welcome. Happy Monday. So today I am talking about veganism and spirituality, which for people who know me, this is probably weird because I have not always been known to be anything remotely spiritual. In fact, oh, and there goes the green screen. In fact, most of my life, I've identified as an atheist and not really been interested in conversations like the one we are about to have. There's quite a bit of there's been a lot of negativity in my life from extended family around things like spirituality and specifically religion. So it did take me a very long time to even be open to something like this. But I thought, let's talk about it now while I'm still learning and kind of developing my thoughts and ideas. And of course, I would love to hear from you. So please go ahead and tell your story in the chat. Or ask questions, leave comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. So like I was saying, I kind of grew up as even from a young age, I would have identified as an atheist if I'd known what that was when I was little. I really wasn't into religion as a whole. My favorite story to tell that really I think drives that point home is that in 2nd grade, I was actually attending Catholic school at that point, and we were in class, religion class specifically, and it was December, and we were like in a circle having a conversation, and the teacher, she said, "There's a very special name in the word Christmas. Can anyone tell me what it is?" And of course, like, we are in a Catholic school in religion class, everybody's hand shoots up, but she makes the mistake of calling on me. And I turn to the kid who's sitting like 3 kids away from me, and I point to him and I go, Chris's name is in Christmas. I had not a thought that she meant the word Christ, not one. And that really is Kimberly's story as far as things that are religious and spiritual for a really, really long time. And I didn't have any interest in it. And I also, like I said, I had some really negative experiences, extended family who were super religious and super judgmental of those of us who were not. And there was quite a rift caused for many years because of that. So, I had a lot to work through that way too. And then, when I went vegan, well, first we'll start with when I went vegetarian. So I went vegetarian, and so I was still eating cheese for a long time. We've talked about that. But but I never felt like in alignment completely. And I always knew that even though I was vegetarian then, I always knew that the goal was to be vegan. And there was something just inherently in me that made me know that going vegan was the was where I was getting to and what I really wanted. So but I couldn't like pinpoint exactly what that feeling was in that moment. But but so I was thinking about what that felt like, this like disconnect almost, because I was aware of all of the cruelty in the dairy industry and things like that, but I just wasn't there yet as far as going vegan. So when I went vegan, suddenly it was like, ah, everything was in alignment and something in me just felt right. And so I started to think about, like, what is that feeling? This connection that I was experiencing with the earth, with, the animals, with all like living, even to be outside in like and hear the wind like going through the leaves of the trees. Just even that just felt more like I was a part of it once I was vegan. So there's this connection that I made at that point. And I think it comes from aligning with my highest values, which is really becoming in alignment with my higher self. And for some people, depending on their take on spirituality or their take on the religion that they, might follow or maybe grew up in, that might also be seen or felt like being in alignment with a higher power or with the divine or with the angels, however, whatever that is that resonates with you. And, veganism is not a religion. So that's not the discussion we're having here. It's not, it's a philosophy that we live by. And so while we might be able to make some parallels in that there are kind of guidelines, if you will, of how you live your life and what makes your life a vegan one, people who follow religions also have kind of guidelines and things that make their lives a whatever their, path that they're following is. So I feel like we can make some connections that way, but it doesn't mean that being vegan means that you have to be spiritual. I spent quite some time not being that. And I don't even really like that word. It's just one that people understand what it means to be spiritual. So that's why I'm using that tonight. But so tell me, what do you guys think? What is your take on veganism and the connection to spirituality? Have you had an experience like this one, or is your experience different? I want to know. So, tell me in the comments what your take is on all of this. And I want to talk too about the way that using animals for our convenience, it's not just that like animals are treated badly and that's kind of the end of it. Like the fact that the animals are treated badly kind of ripples out to everything else, and it takes away love and peace and harmony in the world and in ourselves. So when animals are abused, for our convenience, the people who are doing the the abusing, or in the slaughterhouses, those who are on the line and are working to change this from a living sentient being into someone's food, there's a lot that's happening there too. We can get so caught up in, and not caught up, that's not the right word, not the right phrase, but we can focus so much on the animals who are suffering, and they are, make no doubt about that, they are. What about the people who work there? And what about the people they go home to? So the people who work in slaughterhouses are exposed to this violence all day long. And then when they go home, they've spent all day engaging in violence towards beings that can't fight back, that can't do anything to change that situation. now they're bringing that aggression and that violence home, whether they want to or not. And I don't believe that people who enjoy violence, if there are people like that, I don't think they're drawn to these jobs. I think people that get these jobs are kind of in a position where it's kind of their only option. And so they've got to take that home. And what does that mean to their families? And then however they're showing up with their families, how are their families then showing up when they leave the home, when they're engaging with other people? And so it starts to ripple out, and we can see that the anger and the aggression and the violence just keeps going, and it's reaching more and more people. So that means that we have the ability, right, to do the same thing in the other direction. That when we are living a vegan life, which if you've seen any of my other episodes, you know that I think it's the most loving, beautiful way to live. And so when you're giving that love and you're putting that out into the world, and the steps you take every day, the choices you make every day don't result in extensive suffering and violence and anger, now we're spreading more love. And just like, so when you're thinking about being at home with your family, how are you showing up for your family when you're not taking in? And that's the other thing, sorry to kind of go off again, but when you're consuming the flesh of an animal that has suffered, and there's no animals out here in the world that want to die, or that when they hit the end of the line, even if they were raised humanely, none of them are like, oh, it's my time to go, okay, and like it's peaceful. Like, there's animals just like us have this inherent will and want to live. And so there is that adrenaline rush at the end, and then people that consume animal products are consuming all of that. So now we've got the people who are doing it and are showing up in a certain way, and that kind of spreads. And then the people consuming animals are consuming that. And now how does that show up? How are they then interacting in the world? Hey, Mac, thanks for being here. That's a great question. And I would move, for me, I wouldn't use the word God, but I appreciate that you do. And let me just leave that up while I answer it. So I think that our role as humans here on this earth, in this universe, is to do the best that we can, and to just be love and spread love. And this is, and I mean, like, yes, pure love from our pure hearts, where we want a world where people are showing up from that perspective, from that loving space. Because at the end of the day, that's what humans need. We need this connection, and we need to have love in our lives. And I think a lot of the reason why there's so much unrest is that there isn't enough of that. We don't have enough people showing up from a space of love. So yeah, Mac, I do think that we should fill our lives with pure food. So all the plants, the veggies, the fruits for sure, the greens, all of that good stuff. And yeah, to lead from that pure heart, from that space. And when you think about when people change, when people have had a hard time for whatever reason, and when they are just shown love, truly shown love, it's amazing what humans can accomplish just from that, just knowing that they're supported and that there's this unconditional love for them. If we all had that, imagine what we could do. I think that it would change everything. So let me see. All right, so I kind of talked, I made some notes, so I apologize. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. Um, yeah, so my thing, right, is that I've now started to kind of think about, oh, well, here's where I wanted to go with that. So after I went vegan, like I said, I started to really think about that connection with the universe, feeling just more in alignment with my higher self, more in alignment with um, the universe, with the energy of the earth. And then last September, and I've mentioned, I think I mentioned this on another episode. We had 4 cats. Our eldest cat passed away in September, and that was the first time that I lost someone where I thought, I cannot bear to think that she just isn't anymore. I'd thought about that before. People, I've lost relatives, and people I've known have passed away, and still my feeling of like, there's nothing. I was okay with that. There's nothing after people pass away. And that, even thinking about, my own demise, was like, it's okay. Like, I did, I've been here. I saw what was going on, and that's fine. I don't need more after this. Maybe it makes sense that we get a break and nothing is. And I really was okay with that. And then Cookie passed away, and I just couldn't even imagine that there was a chance that she didn't exist anymore. We had spent 12 years together. I adopted her when she was about 4. And so just this beautiful, perfect little creature just in my life every single day for 12 years. And the idea that she would just be gone, it just, I couldn't I couldn't accept it. So then I started to think, okay, well, what does that mean? How does that connect with everything else in my life? And I started to think back to going vegan, feeling connected to the energy of the earth, the energy just around us. And then I started to think, well, maybe, energy can neither be created nor destroyed, it just changes. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe she's just, her energy has changed. And that kind of got me thinking about all of this. So I'll put it out there again. Like, what do you guys think? You have anything to say about this? You got any questions? Not saying that I have an answer, but like, I'm happy to kind of pontificate with you, if you have a question that you want to throw out there. But yeah, it's really interesting when you think about all the different like religions and things where there is, and like, I'm not an expert. I have, but what limited knowledge I have about other religions, there does seem to be kind of a theme of, um, taking care of each other and not harming one another, and being leading with love, and just being gracious and grateful and kind and compassionate. So it kind of makes sense that, veganism, that includes all of that. So we're not just talking about, what we eat, right? Veganism is our whole lifestyle. It's not just showing up in one way. Yeah. So I think we can connect them. I don't think we have to. I don't think we have to. Like I said, veganism is a philosophy we live by that kind of guides us and everything, but it is not a religion. And I don't, ascribe to a religion myself. But I think that we can kind of see that connection, and maybe spirituality is just that for you or for me is just feeling that energy, being connected. You visit a farm sanctuary and you can look into the eyes of these rescued animals and just kind of know their soul. I mean, that feels pretty spiritual to me. It feels pretty divine to me. Um, it's been a very interesting journey that I've been on lately, and I really just wanted to share that, and I wanted to see um, if you all had anything to say about that. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you, Mac, for your question. It was an amazing question. Thanks for joining me tonight. And so we'll see you next Monday. If you have any topics you'd like me to cover, or you have questions you want me to answer live, you can always send them to me ahead of time. You can do it through the Virtual VegFest Live website, or you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook at Did You Bring the Hummus? And you can, of course, always message me there on either of those platforms if you have questions or a topic that you would like me to cover in an upcoming episode. I'm here every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, so I'd love to see you. Thank you. I love you. Good night.